around my story.
I am Avery, 19 years old. I have two sisters, a white and a black girl. Aria is the eldest. She is 20 years old. She is an angel in appearance and character. Everyone loves her. She is always calm and obedient. Mia is our little sister. She is 17 years old. She has a very quarrelsome personality and always gets us into trouble. We always do not agree on anything, especially if it is a place to go out. But this time, it was a little different. Mia agreed on the place where Aria wants to go out since it is Aria's birthday, and she has the right to choose. But of course, it was on the condition that Mia had the right to invite her friends. The day was very nice in the beginning, until Aaron, Aria's boyfriend, arrived. It was the first time that Mia and I saw him. He was young, handsome, and very polite, and although he was the type that Mia did not like, and she was in a relationship with a young man named Aiden, she liked Aaron very much. Aria realized that Mia was trying to get close to Aaron, and she tried to warn her, but Mia didn't care and went on. So Aria got very angry at the time, and it was the first time to see Aria's features full of anger like this, but she had nothing to do. The party and the day ended. Aria decided to leave because Mia took over the place, and Aaron, in order to try to compensate Aria for this birthday, I booked a camping trip with a group of my university friends. Aria refused at first, but was convinced after a while. The strange thing is that when we arrived at the camping site, we found Mia standing with Aaron and they were laughing. I tried to behave at the time and asked Mia to come with me so we could talk, and I told her that she shouldn't act with Aaron in this way because Aria loves him and she spoils the relationship, but she didn't like my words and left me and walked and went to Aaron while he was helping Aria to set up her tent. Of course, Aria got very angry, but at the same time, she didn't know what to do. She was talking on the phone, and after a while, I didn't find her. I looked for her a lot, but it was useless. I called her, but her phone was switched off. I was like crazy. I didn't know what to do. And when I told Mia to look for her with me, she didn't care. Aaron started searching with me, but to no avail. She disappeared. And at that time, when I did not know what to do, a number called me, telling me that Aria was in the hospital. She had a major accident while returning to the road. She is unconscious. I took Mia and Aaron and went to the hospital. The strange thing is that Mia was not affected, nor did she even feel that she was the reason for what happened, as if she was happy. I was very upset with her. How insensitive was she? So I took all my anger on her, blaming her that she is the cause of all the problems that happens to us and that her presence among us has become a great burden for us. Mia kept silent until she reached the hospital. We went to see Aria, and then I didn't find Mia. Disappeared. I tried to find her. I tried to talk to all her friends, but to no avail. At that time, my father and my mother knew what had happened, and they arrived at the hospital and began to ask about my sisters. I didn't know what to tell them anymore. That my older sister is in a coma, or that my younger sister has disappeared. I broke down and kept crying. I felt guilty, and that the reason for all of this was me, who prepared the camping trip, and I was the one who got upset with Mia. I am the reason, and I don't know what to do. I wonder, do you think who is wrong? Me or Mia? Or Aria, who gave up her rights so much?
I'm Joe, 18 years old. I don't know when and how this year passed, but all I remember, it's the worst year I ever had. I'm the only son of a successful businessman who was always involved in all my decisions. He even sent me to live with my uncle and his children to be in the same school as his partner's daughter Maria. They agreed in the past that we'll get married, and the partnership between them becomes greater than work and interests by being one family. Of course, I refused in the beginning, but as usual, my refusal or my approval was not necessary for him, and although I strongly objected to his decision, the next day I was on the plane. I arrived at my uncle's house very sad, but their welcome made it easy for me. And at school, after I saw Maria, I will not deny I liked her. She's a beautiful girl, and she has all the characteristics that any young man could look for, although I know her since she was a little girl, but I haven't seen her for 3 years. But I had only one obstacle: Marcus, the handsome young man who had a distinguished personality and was very confident in himself. Maria liked him, and they always stayed together at school. At first, I thought they were just friends. After a while, I found him getting closer to her, and Maria almost didn't deal with anyone but him. They always sat together in the school restaurant, and they went out together, and they were always laughing. One day I felt it was over. Marcus took my place, and this is a difficult thing to allow. I had to take a stand, but every time I tried to deal with or get closer to Maria, I felt that she rejected me. When Henry, my cousin, saw Maria and Marcus together in the street, and they were holding each other's hands and were very happy, he came to me and said, "Your chance is over, and you won't be able to attract Maria." Of course, I got nervous and told him, "Who is that, Marcus? Are you kidding? It's impossible for Maria to leave me and be with Marcus." I said it with all arrogance, although I was sure that Maria really loved him and that my chance to reach her heart became impossible unless Marcus was no longer there. At the time, I was thinking about how to get rid of Marcus being around Maria everywhere. Albert told me that I have to act before missing the opportunity. I left them and went to my room thinking, what should I do? Although it was very clear that the handsome German young man Marcus, with his elegance and charisma, was the one who captured Maria's heart from the moment he came to school, my future and my whole life's success were linked to my relationship with Maria. There was no solution for me except that I try to reach her in any way, whatever. The important thing is I succeed in the end. I got tired of thinking and decided to sleep. As soon as I arrived at school in the morning, I moved quickly and went to talk to her. At first, she was talking like in the days when Marcus was not in our lives. And suddenly, the first time I told her that we are far away and we must be close again, and that she doesn't share anything with us anymore, I found her looking far away. I turned to see what she was looking at. I found Marcus approaching us. I looked at her again to complete my words, but she left me and went without telling me. I was shocked and fixed in my place, trying to control my nerves so as not to hit Marcus, but I couldn't. And when I started moving towards Marcus and Maria, Henry, Albert, and Carter noticed and moved toward me quickly and stopped me. I tried to get him out of the way, but I couldn't. Then they took me and left the school, and at that time I got a call from my dad. I couldn't answer it at the time and turned off the phone. When we returned home, we entered my room and he called me again, so I had to answer him. And as usual, his short calls were 2 words. He told me that after a week there will be the annual celebration of the founding of the parent company of his group of companies, and that I have to come with Maria so that he and her father will set the date for the engagement. And of course I heard and I didn't know what to say. We ended the call, and this was the first time he made a short call that didn't have any feelings to be useful for me. And after I calmed down, I got up to break anything and everything in front of me. Harry told me what happened. Calm down and tell us, and we'll act. I calmed down and told him that everything is over for me, my life, and my future, which depends on the presence of Maria in my life. And all the plans that he has been making for a long time will be lost because of me. I will be the failed son of a father who spent years building his empire because Maria preferred Marcus over me. Albert suddenly said, "We have to get rid of Marcus." I said, "How?" He said we'll try to make him a problem in the school and expel him from it. And that's how we got rid of him. And of course, no one will know that we're the reason. I told him, I agree. What should we do? Carter interrupted me while I was talking and said, "This will not work, no matter what the problem is. We will not be able to expel him from school because Marcus's father owns the largest percentage of shares in the school." And after we had found a solution to get rid of Marcus, it became clear that the solution would not lead to problems for anyone other than us. We all sat silent and lost hope. It's just a week, and everything will be lost for me because of Marcus. Henry suddenly said the quickest way to get rid of your enemy is to accompany him. We have to get close to Marcus. We all shut up and looked at each other, and I told them, but we have to move according to an exact plan. And none of us make mistakes in anything. In a moment, I had an idea. There will be a car race in 2 days, and we must convince him that we'll participate in it, as if everything was ready, arranged, and waiting for us. Albert said, and we'll benefit from his participation in the race. What will you benefit from if you win against him? I told him. Who said I would beat him? The idea is that we put pills and different types of drugs in Marcus's car on the basis that he deals in them, not just drinks them. And this is the reason he'll be in prison for no less than 10 years. Of course, Maria did not wait for him all this time, and her view of him would be different. And no one objected to the idea, or even his conscience alerted him, even for a moment. But there was a problem. How are we going to put these drugs into his car? This is the hardest point. Albert said there's only one way. We'll tell him about the race tomorrow, and tell him we'll all go check and fix our cars, and that he will come to us. And there I will know how to put the pills in a good place in the car. I interrupted him and said, in the right time before the race starts, we'll report the police. But our movement in the race will be very normal, and I hope no one shows anything about it. We do not want the plan to fail in any way. Indeed, the next day, we met Marcus as soon as we entered the school, and we talked to him. He agreed that he would participate in the race, and we agreed that we would gather after school and go to fix our cars at Albert's shop. Albert's friend. We arrived at Albert's shop. Henry, Carter, and I took Marcus and sat on the side to distract him from Albert by showing him pictures of the prizes we had taken from the past races. After Albert finished his mission, he came to us and said, "Come on, let us all take a ride as a training session for tomorrow." Each one of us got into his car and we moved. I deliberately drove at a high speed to see how Marcus would behave, and also so that he would know the competition tomorrow will not be easy. And that is how I guarantee that his high speed will serve us in the police chasing, especially since he doesn't know what's going on with him. I don't know how my thinking was criminal in an organized manner, as if I was born criminal. And the strange thing is, while I was thinking about all this, I was very happy. And I did not feel that I was destroying the life of another young man. He had no fault except that he was better than me, because at least he knew exactly what he wanted. We went home that day as if we were returning from a great victory, and excited about what will happen the next day. And the awaited day came. And Albert, Henry, and Carter and I got ready and went to school this day, and the smile did not leave our faces. As soon as we entered the school, we found Marcus standing with Maria. He smiled at us and raised his hand to greet us. We smiled at him, and Carter said, "Come on, let him say goodbye to her. It's the last day in the life of freedom for him." We all laughed out loud. The decisive hour is near. We finished school and went back to the house getting ready. Each one of us put on our racing clothes and went out. We arrived at the place of the race. Marcus was there before us. We greeted him and got into the cars. At this time, we informed the police of all the details from an unknown number. The race started. In the beginning, I was ahead of Marcus, and the rest of us were close. And the rest were close to us. And then I let Marcus lead in the race. And in a short time, we found the police appeared on the racetrack. And of course, we opened the way for them to reach Marcus. Marcus was driving at a great speed at the time, and he could not comprehend or understand what was happening. Every time the police cars approached him, he moved away and increased the speed until a police car cut his way and stopped in front of him. The officer got out and asked him to get out and search the car. Of course, Marcus didn't refuse. He didn't understand what the reason was, so he stopped close to the car to see what was happening. A police dog approached the car, got into the back seat, and took out from under it a large black bag wrapped with brown sticky tape. Marcus was shocked by what he saw, and of course, he realized that this meant imprisonment. So he got into his car at great speed and moved to flee. And of course, the police quickly chased him. My cousins and I were standing at a short distance watching what was happening. And at the time when Marcus escaped, we also walked behind the police to see the last shot of our victory when they arrest Marcus, and that the obstacle between me and Maria no longer existed. The strange thing is that Marcus was driving at a crazy speed. And suddenly, something happened that I didn't expect. In the beginning, I was close to Marcus and the police cars, but because of Marcus's crazy speed, the distance between us became great, but also we kept getting close and seeing what was happening with our eyes. But suddenly we heard a loud explosion. We got a little closer and got out of the cars to see what was going on, and when we looked from our place, we saw a terrible fire swallowing the car. We looked at every place, not finding Marcus's car, and all the police cars standing close to the car that exploded. It turned out that Marcus's car went out of the way of the race and turned over more than once, and this was the cause of the explosion. We all thought the same way, but none of us could say what we were thinking. At this time, we heard an officer saying quickly, "Bring the fire extinguishers and control the fire," but it was useless, and I kept screaming and saying, "I'm the reason!" Carter and Henry tried to calm me down, and Albert was not moving from his place. I tried to push them away from me, and I fell to the ground while telling Marcus, "I'm the reason." We all broke down, except for Carter, who was able to control the situation and his feelings. He helped us each get into his car, and we moved after he spoke to Albert so that he would come and take my car and take it back because I wasn't in any condition that would allow me to drive and go home. We had to move quickly and get away from the scene of the accident before the police saw us to ask us why we were there. We all went home, trembling, not realizing what had happened, and I refused to believe what we saw was true. The idea that I became a murderer. Yes, I did not kill by my hands, but the reason is my greed that led to Marcus running away from something that he had no guilt or relationship with. I'm the one who planned everything. I'm the reason. I'm the reason. I kept screaming and saying that. And suddenly, we heard the doorbell ringing. We were sure it was the police and that we were lost. Henry opened the door. He found Maria collapsed and crying. "Tell me, how could Marcus die? He wasn't going to race with you. What exactly happened there?" And we all stood next to each other and looked at her and cried. Suddenly, I found her approaching me, her eyes full of sadness and anger at the same time, and she was screaming at me, telling me, "Joe, that what happened has nothing to do with you." And of course, I couldn't say anything, and she continued her words, "Tell me this did not happen. How did he die so easily and in this horrible way? I'm not even able to see him and bid him farewell." And she broke down. What I was able to do is that I went to my room and kept breaking everything in front of me until I fell unconscious. Since then, I've been waking up screaming, "Fire! Fire!" because of the nightmare that I see every day. The doctor diagnosed my condition as an acute nervous breakdown. At first, my uncle refused to go to the psychiatric clinic because the news would not spread. But after a week of treatment, there was no improvement for my condition. On the contrary, it was getting worse. He had to take me to the clinic. Maybe there would be any improvement, and now I've been there for 3 months. Of course, the annual celebration of the parent company is past. Can you imagine that my father came to me a month after the accident? I was in the hospital. All that I remember from the conversation between us, or more accurately, the reprimand, while I was silent, all that I remember from his words is that I'm a loser son, that I did not know how to succeed in the only thing he asked of me. I only benefited from his presence in life, and I missed an opportunity from his hand to control the largest percentage of the company's shares. He also knew about Maria's relationship with Marcus, and that I was the reason for the accident. I didn't blame myself for what I did. All he said is that even when I tried to do something right, I failed at it. And he said a lot of words. At the time, my condition still did not allow me to hear everything he said. Despite that, he didn't care about my condition. He left me and went, and since then, he didn't call me even a simple call. And at the time I was in the hospital, I did not know what was happening, and there was only one nightmare in my life. Marcus was pulling me into the fire with him while I was trying to escape, and I woke up screaming. At the time, there was an investigation about the accident and about those close to Marcus in the school. And of course, they summoned Henry, Albert, and Carter, and my condition didn't allow it at the time, and the investigation ended with the case closed. And of course, you understand who closed it so quickly. Maria traveled and moved from school. and I tried to commit suicide more than once, but in the end, I chose to punish myself by saying that I would rather live remembering my crime that destroyed the lives of many people. Imagine that in the end, I discovered that I didn't love Maria at all, and that I was just a toy in the hands of my dad, with which he fulfilled his desires and dreams, not mine. I even discovered that I don't have any specific dreams or desires in life. And after he finally abandoned me, I found my true self, and I started a new life. But my crime will remain with me for the rest of my life. It can be exposed at any time, and I and my cousins will take our punishment. The punishment we had prepared for Marcus from the beginning, without him committing any crime.